Good morning, students, and welcome to the Google class on cryptography, network security, and cyber law. We are starting with Model 3, that is key management. We are going to start today. And your teachers are P. Pranam Prasad and Mr. Ajay Bhai. Next slide, please. Contents of the Model 3. In Model 3, we will going to discuss about key management, authentication 1 and 2. In this, we will go and discuss about one-way, mutual, and centralized authentication. Next, IP security at the network layer and IP security with respect to Internet Key Exchange Protocol. And the last topic is security at the transport layer. Next slide, please. Key management. In this lecture, we will going to discuss about the what is key management, introduction, digital certificates, public key infrastructure, identity-based encryption. Next slide, please. Introduction. Key management is related to the generation, storage, distribution, and backup of keys. The focus is on the management of public key, private key pairs. The public key, private key pairs are used for encryption, decryption, signature generation, verification, and for the authentication purpose. Next slide. For example, consider the given example. To encrypt a session key for use in communication between two parties A and B, A needs to know the B's public key. The key issue here is how does A know B's public key communicate? There are three possibilities. Other A and B wants to communicate. How A will come to know what is the public key of B? Well, three possibilities we will going to understand here. First possibility is A may frequently communicate with B in a secure manner so that A may already have the B's public key. Next slide, please. Possibility 2. Every entity public key is securely maintained in a centralized dictionary. Suppose A wishes to securely communicate with an e-commerce website, for example, BMart. All A has to do is to obtain B Mart's public key is to query the the directory for it. By using the directory, A can search the public key of the B. The question here is who would take the responsibility for maintaining such a directory? This is the second possibility. Coming to the possibility 3. A receives a document signed by a trusted source C containing B's public key. This is one more possibility. These are the three possibilities. Next slide, please. Digital certificates. A digital certificate is a signed document used to bind a public key to the identity of a person. For example, such an individual identity could be his or her name, national identification number, email, or postal address, employer address, etc., or some combination of these. CA, the centralized the certification authority. The entity that issues the certificates is in a trusted entity is called as certification authority certificate. Okay. Certificates may be issued to the individuals, to organizations, or even to the servers. Okay, next slide, please. For example, when you consider this example here, the name of the person, organization, address is there. For example, Morio Rossi, organization, Wikimedia, some address is there. Country, United States. So he is having public key. The public key of Morio Rossi will be available here. Right? And using that, the certificates can be issued here. You can able to identify the information and public key of the Rosemary is a one person. The certificate authority verifies the identity of the Rosemary and encrypts with its private key. In the certificate, all the details of the Rosemary will be available along with the public key of the Rosemary. Digital signature certificate authority also will be available, digitally signed by the certificate authority. This is the digital certificate of the individual person. Next slide, please. The digital certificate format, which contains the different thing. It is according to the standard X.50509 it is called, right? So in this it contains the different this one version 1, version 2, version 3, depending upon how it is updated. In the version 1, have the version name, certificate serial number, algorithm used, what are the parameters, that is the signature algorithm identifier, it is called issuer name, who is issuing certificate, and the next, not before, not after, that is period of validity from this date to this date. And next, subject name, the subject public key information such as algorithms, parameter, keys used. This is as per the volume 1 it is called. Next, version 1, sorry. When you come to the version 2, the issuer unique identifier and the subject unique identifier also is added here. Next, when you come to the version 3, some of the extensions also is going to be provided here, and all the versions will have the signature will be available. The signature is a combination of algorithms, parameters, and the encrypted hash value. So this is the XDOT 509 digital certificate format. Next slide, please. So this is according to the ITU standards. X.509 digital certificate will be available here. The format for public key certificates. The different fields you already seen as per the diagram. The first one I considered here, certificate serial number and version, means each certificate is issued by a given certifying authority. You will have a unique number will be there. Next, issued information means the designated name of an entity includes his her or its common name, email address, organization, country, etc. will be available there. Next slide, please. Next, third one, signature and associated signature algorithm information. It is necessary to verify the authenticity of the certificate. For this purpose, it is signed by the issuer, so that the certificate should be included the issuer digital signature and also the algorithm used for signing the certificate. Next, fourth one, validity period means there are two date fields will specify the start date and end date between which certificate is valid. It is called. Next, fifth one, subject information. This includes the designated name of the certificate subject or the owner. For example, if customer intends to communicate with an e-commerce web server, that is www.bmart.com, then the customer's browser will request the bmart certificate. Next slide, please. Client side software will check whether the common name in the BMART certificate will tallies with the BMART's domain name. Other organizations such as the subject, country, state, and organization may be included. Next, sixth one, subject public key information. The public key algorithm such as example it may be RSA or DSA or DSC algorithm, and the public key parameters modulus in case of RSA and modulus uh, mm, plus the modulus plus generator in case of Diffie-Hellman code. This the module 2 will go to understand. Next, coming to next slide, please. How to validate digital certificate? This is with respect to the example of our Aadhaar card. As a generally we will go to use it. Initially, when you download, the validity will be unknown. It is called digitally signed by the person name and the date also it is going to display. Once it is validated, then you can be able to get the tick mark will go to. Before there will be a question mark will be available. Next slide, please. How digital certificates are used for the message encryption. So for one example, you are going to understand here. Message body captured. The recipient public key is going to be retrieved. Next, one-time session key or one-time password will be issued here. Next, encrypted. The message body encrypted with the session key. Next, this is the session key encrypted with the recipient public key. Next, after that, the session key appended to the encrypted message. Then the message will be sent to the destination it is going to be sent. Right? This is the encryption process will be followed along with the digital certificate. Next slide, please. Indian scenario you consider here. The digital certificates will be available with the eMudra Limited. It is a certifying authority licensed by the controller of certifying authorities under the Government of India. Next, second point, eMudra operates under the guidelines set by the Information Technology Act with more than 1 million certificates issued. Next, third point, eMudra caters to all kinds of subscribers who use the digital certificates for income tax, properties, tenders, foreign trade, banking, railways, and many other needs. Next slide, please. So this is the website of the eMudra, where you can able to get the digital certificate. We can able to buy the digital certificate by filling the form, by giving all the required details, and by paying the prescribed amount of fees. One can able to obtain the digital certificate on an individual name, or for the organization also it can be issued. Next slide, please. Digital certificate in action. Right? Assume that one example we are going to consider here. Assume that A needs to secretly transmit a session key to B. A and B are the two parties they want to communicate. Step by step, we'll try to understand here. First step, A encrypts it. So A encrypts it with B's public key. Second point, A will need to retrieve the public key from the B's certificate. Third point, A may already have the B certificate, or A may send the message to the B requesting for it. Fourth point, there are number of checks that A will have to perform on B's certificate before to use the B's public key. Fifth point, is this indeed B certificate, as it has to be verified. Next, sixth point, this can be determined by checking whether the certificate contains B's name, but the common name field alone may be inadequate, since there are probably may John Browns, for example, may be allowed here. Next slide, please. Assume that A needs to secretly transmit session key to B. Seventh point we are going to consider here. It may be necessary to check other fields in the certificate, such as subject, web page URL, or the email address. Only name of the person is not sufficient. Next, eighth point. A should check if the certificate is still valid. Since the validity period is contributed in the certificate, this is easily done. Finally, the certificate must be signed by a CA or RA. A should verify the signature contained in the certificate. A requires the CA's public key for the signature verification. The certifying authority may be globally known, or may be known to the community that A and B belongs to. In this case, A has to access the CA's public key. Next slide, please. Differences between the digital signature and digital certificate. Digital signature is an electronic method of signing an electronic document. Digital certificate means a digital certificate is a certificate issued by certifying authority to verify the identity of the certificate holder. Digital signatures for secure information, web managing an account, web applications, online work process applications, e-tendering, store network administration, etc. Digital certificates for signing the web forms, e-tendering documents, income tax returns, etc. Digital certificate means it is going to authenticate the individual user will be authenticated. Next slide, please. Public key infrastructure. The functions of PKI, it is called public key infrastructure. The public key infrastructure includes the certifying authorities, the physical infrastructure, encryption technologies, hardware, etc., and the formation and enforcement of policies and the procedures. It includes the following services: certificate creation, issuance, storage, and the archival. Second point, the key generation and key escrow. Third one, certificate key updation. Fourth one, certificate renovation. Next slide, please. For example, we consider certifying authority will be there, verifying authority, RA also will be there, retrieval authority it is called. Right? A document can be, you can able to, as the key will be available with the user here, and the certifying authority, verifying authority, retrieving authority, all this will be involved in the issuance of the public key infrastructure. These things will be available here, right? And using this, the customer can able to do online shopping, any of the things. Okay. Next slide, please. In case of encryption and decryption, it is often necessary to have a backup of decryption key. It is very important here. Right? If not, an employee who loses his decryption key will be unable to decrypt the archives of sensitive data he may be accumulated. Old data is very difficult to retrieve. Once a person is going to lose the decryption key. For this reason, PKI within an organization, for example, might hold the private keys in escrow. What is the meaning of escrow? Means they may be securely backup and made available to the owner or to a trusted authority such as law enforcement agency or legal team, etc. under the special circumstances. Next slide, please. If such a key is lost, that is decryption key, the owner could inform the CA or PKI administrator within the organization. He or she could then obtain a new signing key and receive a new certificate carrying the corresponding public key. An important function of the PKI is to provide a safe archival facility for all the issued certificates. Next slide, please. So an example we are going to consider public key infrastructure. User is having some keys will be there. You wanted to communicate with for this purpose. You will going to request for certificate with the certifying authority. Next, the registration authority, he will go and register himself with the registering authority and it can be communicated to certifying authority. Right? So once the data is collected from the user, all the details are given, then verification of the user is going to be done and verifier is going to do the activity. Once it is verified, then certificates will be issued to the user. User will be having the public key and private key also will be given to the user so that user can able to make the communication. Okay. Next slide, please. PKI architectures. Right? So you can able to observe here PKI with single CA. So only one CA is there. User 1 and user 2, user 3 can able to register here. Right? Other user U1, U2, U3 indicates the multiple number of users. N number of users you can call it. PKI architecture. So different formats you are going to consider. Okay. Next slide. PKI architecture, where it is called as hierarchical or tree-based PKI architecture, you can call it there. Right? Certifying authority, where there are multiple certifying authorities is there, like that CA1, CA2, CA3, CA4, CA5, CA6 is there. Each certifying authorities will be having the multiple users. For example, user 1 is certifying authority 1 it is called. Yes, and user 2 and user 2 certifying authority 5 we can call it. It's like that. There may be multiple users will be allotted. Each certifying authority will be having the number of users associated with it. This is in the form of tree based. Hence it is called as hierarchical PKI architecture it is called. Next slide please. Mesh based PKI it is called in the form of a mesh, right, where you can have the communication between the multiple certifying authorities. For example, CA3 is centralized, you can call it, which is connected with the CA1, CA2, CA4, CA5 and CA6, which forms a mesh. And to this mesh there may be multiple users are going to be connected with the certifying authorities. For example, user 1 is connected with CA1, user 2 and user 3 will be connected with the CA5. Like this, remaining users also are connected. From this diagram, we can able to understand that the arrangement will be in the form of a mesh. Hence, it is called as the mesh-based PKI. It is called. Next slide, please. PK architecture with in the form of bridge based it is called. So you can able to have PK of organization A and PK of organization B. They have two different organizations. They have the respective six certifying authorities are there, and two certifying authorities can be communicated using the bridge CA it is called, which is used to facilitate the communication between the two clusters of CAs. The respective CS can able to communicate using the bridge. So this is called as the bridge based PKI it is called. Next slide please. The revocation scenarios it is called. What is meaning of this one? Means the validity period of X509 digital certificate is always contained in the certificate. Next. However, there are other reasons why a seemingly valid certificate may actually be invalid. Sometimes it may be called as invalid. Why it is so, we will going to discuss. Right? Next slide, please. Scenario 1. The certificate subject, for example, a person name called Prashant, was issued a certificate valid between January 1, 2010 and the December 31st, 2010. However, he quit the organization on April 1, 2010 after 4 months of issuing certificate. Assume that Prashant certificate is used for key exchange authentication and that he has made a copy of it. The session key itself is then used to encrypt all the messages in both directions for the duration of the ensuing session. Next slide, please. Third point. Moreover, Prashant would be able to authenticate himself or perform unauthorized decryption since he knows the private key corresponding to the public key in the certificate. Thus, Prashant might continue to do business on behalf of his company even after the resigning. Fourth point. Based on the scenario 1, we need a mechanism to revoke a certificate issued by an organization to an employee when he leaves or changes his role. This is to be required here. Next slide, please. Handling the revocation. Scenario 1. How to handle this? One possible solution to the problem of certificate revocation is to use an online facility that provides the information on the current status of the digital certificates. For this purpose, a protocol called as Online Certificate Status Protocol (OCSP) is employed. Next slide, please. Solution to another proposed solution is to distribute list of revoked certificate revocation list, CRLs it is called. The frequency of list is updated is an important consideration. If CRLs are distributed too frequently, they would consume the considerable bandwidth. Next slide, please. Okay. For example, when you consider here, certifying authority is there, principal P is having public key and private key will be there, and you can have the communication will be there, right? And you can able to request for certificate with certifying authority. The certifying authority may issue the certificate to the principal. Digital certificate will be issued to the principal. Certification revocation list is going to be maintained. In that, it will having the list of digital certificates will be there, and persons are not employed or left the organization or changed the role. Those lists also will be maintained in the certificate revocation list. It is called. Next slide, please. Identity based encryption. The digital certificate is a verifiable way of communicating the public key of the entity. Certificates are transmitted along with the message for the purpose such as authentication, signature verification, and the encryption. An alternative to digital signature emerged in the year 1984 in the form of identity-based encryption. This is one of the old method before the digital certificate was there. Next slide. We'll come to next slide, please. So here we will now come to know what is the working of the IBE scheme is there. Okay. So in this IBE scheme, the two users they wanted to communicate, Alice and Bob, they wanted to send the message here. Okay. So the Alice can communicate with Bob using the private key generator. It is called as PKG. It is called, but the PKG maintains the master public keys will be maintained by the private key generator. The Alice can able to send a request, obtain the master public key from the private key generator. Right? Next, authenticate and receive the Alice private key. Next, so here also the Bob can able to obtain the master public key, that is third point, and authenticate and receive the Bob's private key. So once it is done, PKG it is going to be done here. Obtain the public key and authenticate the private key of the Bob, and similarly with respect to Alice, then both they can able to communicate because both the keys of Alice and Bob has been issued and authenticated. They can able to communicate. This kind of communication is called as protected message communication. Also, it is called. Next slide, please. The PKG has a private key and associated public key parameters. PKR, public key and parameters. To obtain the private key, Alice informs the PKG that she wants to receive a private key corresponding to her ID as Alice at example.com. For example, next, the PKG makes sure that the credential does intended belongs to A. So PKG also makes sure that this ID is universally unique. That is, there is no other individual with the same credentials. In this case, alice.example.com should be verified. Next slide, please. So it generates the private key for Alice, which is the function of our ID and the private key of the PKG. The PKG then secretly transmits the private key into the Alice. Once the private key is issued, then Alice, the private key is going to be verified, and the Alice can able to communicate with the Bob. Next, what is this disadvantage of this method is, with knowledge of PKG's public parameters, Alice unique ID, anyone can compare the Alice public key. That it can be compromised also. Next slide, please. Identity based encryption, one diagram can able to understand. User is available here. Is this one the public key is user at example.com. There is a public key generator is there. The user generates the public key by using the user at example.com and the master public key. By using the public key generator. Then public key is sent to the public key generator. Next, the public key generator, it is going to issue the private key is generated using the master private key and the user's public key, and it will be sent to the user. So this is the main functionalities involved in the identity based encryption, IBE it is called. So this will come to the end of this section. Any queries in the next slide, please. And with this we come to end. Any queries is there, please put in the comment section. And thank you for your patience listening. Thank you.